people did not call him general or king. They called him Kukulkan, the feather serpent god.
Welcome to my review on Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the second installment of the Black Panther saga and Ryan Coogler's second Marvel movie. Let's jump into it. So the basic premise of the film is it takes place after Endgame. T'Challa has recently died of an unknown illness. His sister, one of the smartest people in Wakanda, tried to heal him with a synthetic heart-shaped herb, but she didn't get to do it in time. And now the nation of Wakanda is suffering through grief and loss, and they must rally together during these untrying times. Meanwhile, the rest of the world sees this death as a sign of weakness and are trying to pull up on the Wakandans to gain more vibranium because, you know, when other people have this resource, they usually do bad things with it. They want to use it for military grade weapons. It's never to like heal people. And we get to see that in the opening of the movie where the French try to raid a Wakandan embassy, but they end up getting smacked around by the Wakandans. Because of this, we get introduced to Namor and the Atlanteans. Technically, they're not called the Atlanteans because of copyright reasons, but I'm just, for the sake of purposes of this review, I'm just going to call them Atlanteans. We get some interesting characters. On the comic book front, we get introduced to characters like Namor, who is Namor's cousin in the comics. They don't really get into detail about his family lineage outside of his mother, but yes, we have characters like Namor, who is part of the hit squad or the main like Atlantean Talokan warriors. And then we also get Atuma, who is generally Namor's enemy in the comic books, but in this one he's one of his foot soldiers. And he has a whole thing with Okoye where they, every time they see each other, they beef, including there's a segment where they fight on a bridge, and it's probably one of the best fight scenes in the movie. But getting back to the main story, the US government has built a device in which it's able to locate vibranium on any surface of the world, including underwater, which is deemed a threat for the Wakandans. And during this, especially considering how they found it in the water, that now affects the safety and the security of Talokan, which means the Atlanteans go and destroy the outposts, the American outposts. This leads to a conflict, a general conflict, where they have to find the scientists, or the, I wouldn't say scientists, they keep saying scientists, but the more appropriate term is inventor or mechanic, who built the machine that was able to locate vibranium. We've come to find out that that inventor was actually Riri Williams. For people who know about Marvel lore, that is Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, the child prodigy who is part of the Champions. Some people don't like the character. I thought she was serviceable. I have a buddy of mine that couldn't stand her, thought she was an unnecessary addition to the movie. Personally, I think she was more of a MacGuffin. She was like, and for people that don't understand that, it's more of like a plot device. I'm not saying she didn't have a character. She does. It's just, you could have taken her out of the movie and then just made it specifically about the machine and trying to like find the machine or destroy the machine. So, but there it is. So the Atlanteans want her head. So, and not just the Atlanteans, the US government is trying to come and arrest her. For what reason, I don't know, because She built the first one. She's the only one that knows how to repair it and do a second machine. So Shuri and Okoye go to MIT to find and bring Riri back to the Wakandan side. Then a battle ensues. The U.S. government's there. Everett Ross is back. And for those people who like Everett Ross, I really think, TLDR, that you could have cut out most of the American scenes and taken out the whole Riri subplot, and you would have had a tighter film, in my opinion. By the way, spoilers for this movie. We're at that point where we're just doing spoilers for this movie. Let's talk about Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, aka Julia Louis-Dreyfus. You've seen her. Valentina's been in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and all this other stuff. Her inclusion in the movie, again, like Everett Ross, was unnecessary, but they got to tease up Thunderbolts. So there's that. Then we go on, and then it's basically we have to protect Riri Williams, and that doesn't work out for most people because the Atlanteans end up messing up Okoye. Like they end up knocking her out, which is no heavy feat, by the way. It's no easy feat because she's one of the best fighters in Wakanda, and she holds her own against Atuma and all the other Atlanteans. But their technology and their physical strength is just better in every way, and she ends up losing, thus causing them to kidnap both Riri and Shuri. And once they get over there, Namor teaches or introduces the idea to Riri and mostly Shuri what his nefarious plan is, and he basically is like Killmonger 2.0, but where Killmonger was like, oh, we're only protecting black people, he's like, oh no, it's mostly Talokan, most of the Atlanteans, but you Wakandans, you get a pass. If you're the most powerful nation in the world, we'll give you a pass. So back with Okoye, she gets fired, and King Ramunda goes and she finds Nakia, who went undercover. Well, she's not undercover. After T'Challa got blipped, she left Wakanda because she couldn't deal with the pressures of losing the man that she loves, and she went to Haiti, and she was there as a teacher. So the queen ends up finding her, recruits her, blah blah blah, brings her back. She helps find Shuri. She goes into Talokan, murks a couple of Atlanteans. Namor doesn't like that, and basically there's an entire beef between Atlantis and Wakanda, and that ends up in the death of the queen, which makes Shuri a orphan and officially the new Black Panther. So she has to make synthetic vibranium again. She ends up succeeding with the help of minerals that she got from Talokan because of Namor, and perfects synthetic vibranium. But you have to ingest vibranium and go through the whole ancestral plane. So she does, and spoilers. I mean, if you're this far, you're already spoiled. Where instead of seeing T'Challa or her mom or her father, she ends up seeing Killmonger. And Killmonger introduces the idea that she needs to be her own Black Panther, or at least a Black Panther similar to how he is, ruthless, and she's consumed with vengeance already. She doesn't want to hear anything about the whole family spirit. She believes her family abandoned her, and the fact that she's only seen Killmonger introduces the idea that, oh yeah, it's time to go sicko mode. It's time to kill everyone. So she comes back and they go to war. Everybody, Nakia's trying to convince her to calm down. She's like, no, I'm gonna kill Namor if it's the last thing I do. And the Atlanteans and the Wakandans all pack up. Mind you, Wakanda has been flooded. It's on the brink of destruction. They had to go to the Jabari's tribe, which is in the mountains, to just recover and recuperate. So Shuri comes in her new Black Panther outfit. Everybody acknowledges her as the new protector. So they go and they fight the Atlanteans and Talokan. And it's one giant spectacle of a fight scene. And at first they're holding their own. They have a sonic device that's able to give them leverage, but Namor ends up destroying that device, and then they pretty much get their ass beat. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. The Wakandans, they were on the back foot. They only had and Namor did say that. He said he had more Atlanteans than the Wakandans have blades of grass in their entire country. He said that shit, and he meant that shit.
I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out.
And these motherfuckers almost died. They were on the back foot, but Shuri was able to give the upper hand by making armor specifically for Okoye. And we get introduced to something from the comics, which is the Midnight Angels. And in this, it's like a suit of armor that gives them advanced strength and speed. Think of Iron Man tech, but like cool. Not to say Iron Man isn't cool, but like specifically for the Dora Milaje, mainly Okoye. And that gives her the upper hand when she's fighting Atuma and the rest of the Atlanteans. But unfortunately, that was not enough. So Shuri comes up with the idea of taking Namor and separating him from the battle. They have their final battle on a beach, in which before that they're sucking all the moisture. She figures out his kryptonite, which is the water. He's stronger in the water than he is on land. The longer he's out of the water, the weaker he becomes. So they basically drain all the water out of Namor, but the ship crashes. They have their final battle. They're going blow for blow, but Namor eventually stabs Shuri with a spear. She's holding her own, mind you. The vibranium's works, but I like how it's more realistic because she's not a fighter. She's not, rah-rah, hit. So she got some licks in, but it's still realistic enough to where it's like, okay, all right, I believe what's going on. And he's weakened and incapacitated, and she takes the spear out and goes to finish him, but she sees visions of her brother and her mother, and the guiding hand of her mother basically tells her, no, don't do it. Personally, I would have killed Namor, but we need Namor for future films. But I'm talking about personally, I wouldn't let that happen to me.
Wouldn't let that shit happen to me, though.
Couldn't have been me. But yeah, they end up having a truce because she convinces Namor that if anything happens to Talokan, Wakanda will be there for backup, and vice versa. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, basically. Yeah, and then the movie ends with Riri going back home. Talokan, Atlantis is going to chill the fuck out. And M'Baku becomes king of Wakanda, as implied, because Shuri was not there during the challenge day. So she sends M'Baku, which is honestly a better deal for me. I mean, I feel like Shuri is very smart, but I don't think she was ready for the role. Even though in the comic books it's different, she does become queen, and wow, T'Challa becomes king of the dead, which is a whole different thing. If they had recast T'Challa, I feel like that's where his eventual character would have been, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get to the end. Yeah, so she's officially the Black Panther, but she leaves Wakanda in M'Baku's hands and goes to hang out with Nakia in Haiti. And the movie ends like that. Post-credit scene, we're now in the post-credit scene. Post-credit scene is Shuri following her mother's advice of getting over grief and, looking for her brother by burning their funeral robes and, you know, being still and calm and letting everything wash over you. And she eventually does see her brother in a nice, beautiful way, like in probably the most beautiful shot in the movie. She's just sitting on the beach and she's just letting everything, you know, absorb all the trauma, all the everything just absorb into her. And then we get the reveal that might divide a lot of people. We have the introduction of Nakia and T'Challa's love child named, well, his Haitian name is Toussaint, and then his real name, his Wakandan name is T'Challa. Yes, so they have a love child. To make of that what you will, I feel like all the future Black Panther, this is like a compromise. Instead of saying, hey, we're not going to recast T'Challa, but we'll meet you halfway by giving him a kid who is basically the same name and all of this other stuff. So effectively, all the comic book stuff that's going to happen for the, I guess comic book T'Challa is not going to be that kid, even though his father was comic book T'Challa. I don't know. It's a 50-50 divide. You're either going to like it. My back broke during that scene. I was like, oh, it's kind of beautiful, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to admit it. I was one of the guys that was like, recast T'Challa. Listen, if you can recast Rhodey, you can recast Everett Ross. Hell, even if we're talking about characters who have died in real life, you can do the whole Dumbledore thing. So it's not out of the realm of possibility to recast. But they didn't want to do that, so we have this compromise. You're either gonna like it or not. Overall, my general thoughts of the movie is it wasn't bad. I felt like it dragged on too much. I feel like this could have been a more condensed movie. The action was good, and Namor is he's a very spicy, he's a very saucy villain. He's got sauce. It's not Killmonger sauce where just by nature of Michael B. Jordan just being a very charismatic character. But Namor, this version of Namor made me like Namor. Because in the comics, Namor is a very Shakespearean, almost narcissistic character that's Imperious Rex. It's my way or the highway, baby. Very rude, very character. Think Aquaman from Brave and the Bold, or classic Thor, who is just they're very arrogant and mighty and look at me, I'm Namor, King of the Seven Seas, Imperious Rex. He says the line, by the way, which I kind of freaked out when he said it. I was like, oh, he said the thing. Yeah. Overall, I'd give the movie 7 out of 10. It wasn't bad as a sequel. It was okay. I don't think I'm going to rush to go watch it again. If it comes on Disney Plus, it's good. The first one, I can rewatch it. I rewatched it multiple times. I feel like because of the length and all of the key elements, and I think, and this is not to say that the actors did a bad job. I think everyone fired on all cylinders in this movie. It's just personally, when you take away the two main ingredients that made the first movie so good, which is Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan, you're left with a movie that's kind of I don't know, because Chadwick would have elevated this movie in a way that just would have been crazy. But not to say that Letitia did a great job. I thought she was a good actor. Again, my personal grievances is more oh yeah, and this is just for all my horny motherfuckers. Yeah, my God, when did Nakia get some ass? Yes, come to Papa. That's crazy. Okay, back to serious notions. Yeah, no. I feel like if we got rid of the whole American government stuff and just taking out Riri and making it more centered on the Atlanteans or Talokan versus Wakanda, that would have been more concise. I think Riri Didn't really need to be here. Don't dislike her, but definitely felt like something that was tacked on when it shouldn't have been. But it is what it is. Overall, I don't give movies ratings, but if I did, 7 out of 10. Not that bad. But go see it and form your own opinions. Or if you have seen it, let me know. Probably this... I don't think it's my most favorite movie out of this phase. I think it's the best looking movie out of the phase. If I had to rank all the MCU or the top MCU movies, it would definitely go, unfortunately, Spider-Man. But I consider Spider-Man its own thing because of nostalgia. But everybody's just trying to convince me that it's the peak of Phase 4, which unfortunately I guess it is. So Spider-Man, Shang-Chi, and then this. So that would be my top 3. But if you agree or disagree, let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know the next time we upload. And if you agree or disagree, comment down in the comment section. Let's get a discussion going, and you tell me what you thought about this movie. I don't know, man. Phase 4, I wasn't rocking with it too much. I'm an optimist. I'm the guy that really wants, diversity and stuff to happen, but so far it felt like Marvel was dropping the ball. This one is a swing in the right direction, but definitely a good path in the right direction, but a little too long for my taste.